welcome to SoulTopia Shenanigans with Michelle Welch. Thanks for joining us tonight. And I just want to give you guys a heads up that I am just rolling back in from Denver, and that means I'm a little wiped out. Denver is quite the interesting place. I'm sure most of you guys just love Colorado. I'm not sure of that, but I've heard a lot of people do. And it's interesting because it holds lots of memories for me, and most of them are about being sick, because I have altitude sickness, and I always have since I was little. And yeah, I know you all are going to have some remedies for me that are 100% going to work, and I can tell you they 100% don't for me. So call that negative thinking, call it what you want. I'm calling it reality. I don't get along with altitude, not even at that level in Denver. So I was a little bit under the weather, but I'm back in Texas. I was born and raised here, and I'm telling you what, I just love it. So back in the Dallas area, and glad to be back. Cannot tell you enough. Roger and the kids will be back tonight because I flew and they drove. Yep, that's how I roll. It is. Okay. All right. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about our auric fields, and we're going to talk about our physical body. We talk a lot of times about our chakras and our physical chakras, and I've talked to you guys about our transpersonal chakras, those chakras that are outside of our physical body. But I haven't talked a lot about the auric field that we have around us, and everything has an auric field. There was a guy, and I believe he was a Russian engineer, I'm thinking. I think he was an engineer, and his last name was Kirlian, and he came up with a thing called Kirlian photography, and they used that, and I'm trying to remember that date, and I think I wrote it down just so I wouldn't forget it. Nope, I didn't. But anyway, somebody I'm sure will Google that and have it for me. But he came up with this thing called Kirlian photography that showed the auras around things such as plants and flowers and even crystals, and that helped us know that everything does have auric fields. It can be rocks, crystals, and we have auric fields. As you know, many of the saints and Jesus, when they portrayed those people or those saints or those deities, however you want to look at it, they would portray them with a halo around their crown, and that could be said to be their aura. Okay, so we're talking about those bodies that we have outside of our body that basically encase us and are there to sometimes protect us. Now, we'll talk about putting a bubble of protection around ourselves, and that's something too that we can do to protect our auric field. But I just want to go briefly through the bodies that we have outside of our physical body. And I don't want to get too schooly about it, because you guys know I can do that because I love it. But that would be a class, so we're not going to do that right now. I just want to touch on them briefly, and I want to say how they kind of tie to the chakras, because they do. Because don't our physical bodies and our physical forms go with our spiritual bodies and that which is outside of us? Of course they do. Okay, and that's how when we blend and take care of all of those things together, that's when we're going to be the healthiest. Not when we just take care of one thing or another thing. All right? So aura, that word, is from the Greek word that means breeze. And I thought that was really interesting. I always find the etymology, is that the right word? Of words to be very interesting. So aura is actually just that multi-layer encasing around our bodies, and it's around our physical body. And usually they say there are like 7 bands, and they call them 7 bands. And you know that number 7 comes up all the time. Our chakras, 7 days of the week. We can go on and on and on with so many different things. 7 colors in the rainbow, all the different things that the number 7 has to do with. But there are supposedly 7 bands around us too. Now, some people will call these different things, so we don't want to get too hung up on that right now. They'll call them different things. So I'm going to call them something. If you call them something different, that's cool. All right? No problem. Doesn't really matter. All right? But I'm going to tell you how they kind of correspond to a chakra. And so you've got your vital or your etheric that's closest to your physical form. All right, and that would be called your life shell. The Sanskrit word for that means life shell. And I'm not going to try to pronounce the Sanskrit word because those of you who know how to pronounce those would say I'd be butchering it. And so until I learn that better, which I do want to learn, I'm not going to try and pronounce it right now. So that's our life shell. Then we would go out one band, and it would be our emotional. And that would connect. And by the way, that life shell, or that first one, would be connected to our root chakra. And then as we go out, we would have our emotional, or our sacral chakra, our emotional band. And the thing I want to say about emotional is that that is a little bit of a misleading term, because that also includes our thoughts, our ideas, our visions for what we want to do, our dreams, things that and it could be dreams that we actually have, or dreams and ideas that we have that we want to accomplish, okay? So that word is a little bit misleading. It actually also has to do with our moods, okay? Now, back on that vital or etheric shell, that first one that's closest to our physical body, that would regulate our body temperature. It had to do with circulation, metabolism, hormones, hunger, hot, cold. It still would have something to do with that, okay? Now, the third one out, and again, these can vary by what people might say, but we're just going to go with this tonight, would be the mental. That's the shell of knowledge. Now, that would have to do with your clarity, your ideas, your intuition, and your ability to make decisions. And as you go out even a little bit beyond that is the causal auric band, and that has to do with what is known as the shell of pure bliss. All right, so this is almost, and this corresponds to your heart chakra. So this heart chakra almost, and that auric field, or it's not that auric band, almost kind of serves as a boundary line, okay? Because when we get to our heart, that's where everything is now. We're drawing up those lower or denser chakras and those lower energies or auric fields, and everything's now being pulled to the middle to the heart chakra. And then we're pulling down the higher vibrations, okay, and meeting here at our heart chakra. So that's kind of a boundary line. And now we're going to go up into this more high vibration auric fields and chakras. So the first one above that would be, if you think about it, it's your throat chakra, and that's going to have to do with the spiritual etheric. Okay, so it's that band that goes out, and that has to do with your individual soul. So it could be the seat of your soul. Some might say that. Everybody debates where that's located. We're not going to get into that right now. And then you would go out another band, and it could be called the celestial, where you connect with all that is. All is all, right? And we're all connected. And then out even beyond to the etheric, and that's where you connect literally with divine. Now, it has been said that those of you who see, or those of us, and I believe we all can see auric fields. It's something that, or auras, there's a little difference, and I'm not going to get too technical on that, but we practiced in my class, and there were people who came in, and I said, be really, really, really honest. How many of you see auras around people? And I mean with your outside eyes, your real eyes, not that your third eye is not a real eye, because it is, but your physical eyes. How many of you actually see auras? And before we started class, I think there were maybe 2 that raised their hand. And it was a pretty large class that night. And I said by the end of it, we're going to start remembering that we can see, but it takes practice. It takes training. So there will be a lot of people who will say, I see your aura, but sometimes just know that they're saying they sense it with their third eye, which, by the way, I'm going to digress here. I think that is just as powerful of seeing, if not more powerful, than seeing with our physical eyes. Why is it that we all want to ascend, we all want to rise up out of our physical bodies and ascend and get into our transpersonals and keep going up into our higher level and our higher self? Why is it that all of us feel like, or a lot of us, and I can tell you I teach a lot of classes so I know this, that something's more valid if we see it with these eyes. Just ask yourself that. Why is it? Because you have proof? Or nobody knows that but you. If you're saying you see something, I see an angel behind you, Cassie. Well, how does she know what I'm seeing? I may be saying I'm seeing it with my third eye. I may be seeing it with my physical eye. I may not even be being honest, okay? How does she know? So why is it more important to me if I see it physically? If we really, truly believe that there are spirits and beings all around us, and that we're wanting to get back to communicating through our third eye and communicating with each other like they did back in the days of Lemuria, they communicated through their third eye, then why do we care so much that we see everything with our physical eyes? That really just has hit me lately. Like, why is that such a big deal? Okay, so it's okay to sense things, to know things. It's not just better that you have that knowing, seeing, the real physical seeing. But with auras, you actually can. It's a physical phenomena that you actually can see auras if you practice. So by the end of that class, we had practiced, and we practiced using 3-4 techniques, different techniques, and we were seeing auras out more than just the white or the yellow, outside of the body a little bit, okay, out beyond, and we were seeing not just at the crown. Not everybody, but there were some people that were, and they were being very honest. They were really surprised, actually, because they were the people who raised their hands saying, nope, I've never seen them, never, haven't even sensed them, can't do it, I'm willing to try, but haven't ever done that. And then if they kept practicing, I guarantee you they'd be seeing them more, okay, because that's something that we physically can do with our eyes, our physical eyes. Although I propose that that's not any better than seeing with our third eye. Okay, I think we're going to a time where we're going to communicate and see with our third eyes more and more. So let's get off of the fact that it's so much better to be able to say you physically see things. It kind of bugs me because it's like totally goes against what we're all saying that we want to do. We're all saying that we want to ascend, yet we're all wanting to stay trapped here. All right? Do we need to stay trapped here? Do we need to be able to be in our bodies to do what we came here to do? Absolutely. But why do we have to validate everything through this form? We don't, because we're much more than this form, okay? We're everything else. This is just one part, the physical. Only one part, and it doesn't need to validate your spirituality. It doesn't need to validate anything else about you, okay? So they did that in class, and so we started seeing those auras. So it's been said, though, that when you get to those higher auras, like way out, like the heart can go out with some really evolved people out like a mile, maybe more beyond that. Their auric field can extend. So it's been said, though, that even highly just trained people to be able to see auras really can't see those last two. They maybe can sense them, but they cannot see those last two. You can take that or leave it, but it's said that by a lot of people. Okay, that's not something, I don't ever take no for an answer. I don't ever believe that you can't do something, but supposedly those are very difficult to actually see. All right, so what do we do to protect our auric field? We get a lot of that, and there's a lot of things that we talk about for protection. I want to propose to you guys that why don't we always start with raising our own self and our own vibration before we start worrying about everybody else. I'm going to call this minding your own energy. I've talked about it before. Why don't we first start with us and say, okay, let me make sure that I'm going out today with a good attitude. I'm making a conscious choice to have a better attitude, to speak more kindly to people, to look at people more kindly, and start with that. And I think that is one of the steps to making sure our aura is smooth, because there are a lot of things to aura. It's not just the color. It's the texture. Are there indentations in it? The texture, is it lighter or is it faded out? Are there bubbles to it? Are there like big, indentations or big out things that come out from it, all the shapes of it? So there's not just the color, all right? But I think that we should really take care of ourselves. like really and truly, and am I perfect about it? Oh, heck no. I mean, no, I'm not. But I'm going to be honest about it. I need to work on it. And there's days when I get up and I'm like, let me just gripe at one of my friends so they can know what a bad mood I'm in, okay? Or let me just put it on Facebook. I did about United Airlines because I can't stand them. So I said, you guys suck. And so was that great to put out? No. Was I being honest? Yes. But if I could have just stayed calmer, it probably wouldn't have ruined my whole day, all right? And then the aura and the things that I was sending out, the energy that I was sending out to everybody probably would have been a little bit better that day, right? Okay, so start with yourself. Then, before you start accusing everybody else of hurting your mojo for the day, because really half the time I think it's us. It's not everybody else, all right? Then you can go on and look at what other people are doing to you, but be responsible for yourself first. So if you're putting out positivity, then that's going to help get positivity back, because what we put out and what we're thinking about, we're going to get back, right? Right. Okay. And even though that's hard to believe, sometimes it's true. Okay. So then we're going to start getting back more positive things. And I know some of you are thinking, well, that's not always true, because I can be really nice and then they're really rude. Okay. So at that point, what you do is you can put that bubble of a protection around yourself, or you can have your crystals that protect you, or your sprays, or anything else like that you do for protection. But you can also start being aware of certain people that just bring you down, okay? And here's where I get a little funny about it, because what do you do with those people? Do you just say, I'm never going to see you again? That person just is a downer, and so I'm just never going to talk to them again. I'm just going to cross them off my list and unfriend them on Facebook and never talk to them again. I'd say no, I wouldn't do that right at first, especially if you're in this field as a light worker, and I think we're all light workers. I think that a lot of people we run across when we get into this and wanting to help people is you're going to have people come to you that need help. Hello. So you're not going to have everybody who comes across your path be perfect. And they're going to have things that are going on with them that may bring you down a little bit. Do you need to have boundaries? Yes. But should you just say, snap, that person's out of my life? No. And I think it's so immature when people do that. Okay? Really. All right. So, are there times when you have to set up boundaries? Yes. Some of those times when you set up boundaries are for yourself. Like if you block someone on your phone, it may be because you don't need to be contacting that person. You need to be holding yourself accountable for something you might say or you might not do right. It's not always about them and what they've done. And so just consider that, all right? And I get a little sick of all it's not as bad as it used to be, and maybe it's because I'm not around some of those people who do it so much, but I get sick of kind of the whole negativity on Facebook of everybody just slamming people, and I'm going to be authentic, so here I go. This person's just blah, 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 and so I'm blocking them and, blah, blah, blah. Why don't you look at yourself first? I've had to a lot, and I'm by no means perfect. By no means. So I would say that. So that's going to help your auric field when you start looking at yourself, and then you do decide what kind of people you're going to allow around you. Now, your inner circle, because not everybody that you're working with is going to be your inner circle, yeah, you're going to behave like those you put in your inner circle. You just are. I think there's a lot of truth to that, don't you guys? So those 4, 5, 6 people that are in your inner circle, or 2, if they're really negative and rude and ugly to people because they think that that's authentic, really? Okay. I'm sorry. That's an excuse, calling that authentic. Because it's just saying, I'm going to be rude and I'm not going to grow. And that's me being genuine and that's me being real. So I'm just going to be rude to everybody around me. Well, if that's who you're hanging out with, then yeah, you're going to be rude too. Okay? I'm going to speak about something else too. I don't think just because you put on a tough shell and that you're ugly to people, that makes you putting up better boundaries for yourself. I think there's a better way to do that. I think that you can be polite and courteous and kind and still set good boundaries. And am I having to learn those? Absolutely. Because I was raised to be very proper and very formal and very polite and to smile. And people know sometimes when I have the smile that actually doesn't mean I'm smiling. and I was taught to put that on. And sometimes I would have that smile and it would be right before, ooh, something good wasn't coming. So I do believe in being authentic, but I just want to get this out here. I just don't believe that you should use that as a reason to treat people in a way that you wouldn't want to be treated. Because some of the people who behave that way the most, the minute you give that back to them, they don't like it. They don't. They don't handle it very well. So they're real tough until you're right back at them. So there's a big difference between being authentic, and if your authentic self is just a total jerk, then okay, then be your authentic self. If you're really just a total jerk, all right, you might want to work on that though. And that might be somebody that some of us might want to just keep a little bit at arm's length, and so don't be surprised if people do. So that's what I wanted to talk about, and I kind of digressed, but I do get a little bit disturbed by some of the ways people explain being rude and just cutting people out of their lives. Have I cut people out of my life? Yes, I have, and I've had to do that. Sometimes it's for my good because of how I might behave, and maybe they will come back into my life. And do I still pray for those people? As hard as it is, yes, because I'll tell you, sometimes I'm the kind that I'm just a sucker, and I'll take people right back in my life, and things aren't really resolved. And then we wind right back up in that situation 2 years later. So when you're talking about protecting your auric field, it's how you behave is going to make a difference. And I think that's something that's always forgotten. We talk more about everybody else and how we've got to protect from those psychic vampires, and we've got to protect from that boss, and we've got to protect from this, and we've got to protect from that. But why are we not talking about more what we're putting out? Because if what we're putting out is what it should be, and by should, I mean what we're wanting back, then that's a law of the universe. What we're putting out is what we're going to get back. So why aren't we talking about that? I don't know. There's so many things that we just do, and we just kind of follow what everybody's been saying for a long time. Oh, let's protect, let's protect, let's protect. Yeah, but be responsible for you too, because that's a big component. Those two they go together in my mind. Okay, so I brought some crystals because you guys know I have to bring crystals because I love them. So I did a little grid right here. Always, I use selenite. I consider it a smudge stick. No, do not light it, but use it to clear all the way around. I was at the airport, and yeah, they did put me in Dallas. They always put you in that thing now, don't they? But in Denver, they didn't even make us take off our shoes today. That surprised me. They were just like, go through, and they didn't make us go through the thing or anything, just our bags. So I was surprised. So Denver's relaxing things because they were so crowded. I was like, oh my goodness. So just like going through the airport where they're checking you out with that little wand thing, the thing to see if anything beeps, use your selenite like that. And then you can use your black kyanite to sweep out any of the energy that doesn't serve you. Now, in my opinion, you're doing this for yourself too. Okay? And that selenite will kind of close over any of the holes in your aura. Okay? It'll just close those over and smooth those out. And I had another little piece of selenite right here. Okay? Now, Herkimer diamond is great because it's a great bridge between the spiritual and the earthly realms, which will also be a great thing to connect your auric fields to your aura bodies to your physical body. Okay, so that's why I brought this one. It's great because it looks like some black tourmaline in it, which I love. I love crystals when they have impurities in them. Basically, that's how, as y'all know, that's how most things like rose quartz, because it has impurities in it, that's why it's not a clear quartz, and that's why it's pink. Okay, so I love just things like when you look at it, a lot of people want just super clear. I love them when they have little inclusions and different things in them. They're wonderful. Okay, so lepidolite, you've heard me talk about. It's natural lithium. It's where they get lithium from lepidolite. And it's beautiful. I feel like this one really connects with your third eye. And I've actually been putting it on the throat lately. So that is going to connect with some of those, the spiritual etheric and the celestial is going to connect with those auric fields, okay? And then I'm going to go over here to I say celestite. Other people say celestite. So I'm not sure which way is the correct way to pronounce it, but, and I don't really care because I love it. So we actually have the tumble pieces. These are not that easy to find. I'm not saying they're rare. I'm just saying you just don't find the really beautiful tumbled pieces in this everywhere. We have beautiful specimen pieces here in the store. This is that stone that connects you to the angels and to all things spirit guides and things like that. So this too would help you with those outer bodies, okay? The ones where a lot of people can't really get in touch with those. It's when a lot of times when you say, I can't connect with my guides, I can't connect with my angels, I don't feel anything, well, this will really help you a lot. And the other one that I brought was the chrysoprase. Chrysoprase, to me, is the best one to get rid of old pain. If we're carrying around a lot of pain, and I'm talking hurts, okay? A lot of hurts, and we are hanging on to those, eventually it's going to cause disease. And that's what is connecting our physical to then the auric bodies, those 7 layers outside of our body. So chrysoprase to me is one of the best for that. If you're going through something hard, when I went through a divorce, this was the stone that got me through it. It is absolutely beautiful. It will calm you down. It will help you know that there will be another side to this, okay, that you can get through it. And I say that it's a great one for your auric field because of that. Because honestly, the more we have those things that we're letting just puncture us and puncture our auric field, the more this will help. I want to go back to black kyanite too. The black kyanite is also said, I did mention those psychic vampires or those energy vampires, anything like that, this also will help get rid of those if we have kind of puncture holes coming into our auric field. Now, if those are like a black little pinpricks coming in, those are more like maybe something not so good coming in. But if you have like white coming in, that could be something more of like your angels around you, like white in your auric field if you happen to see that around somebody. So don't just automatically think, oh, that's bad. If they have something coming down into their auric field, okay? And so the most important thing to know from tonight is not so much what the levels are or what the fact that they're colors or what colors they are or what color this one means or what color that one means. We're not doing that tonight, although that's really interesting. It's more that you can protect your own auric field. We all have them. So do animals, plants, crystals. Everything has energy, so everything has an auric field. All right? So because of that, we need to be aware of what we're putting out, and that is a way, what I wanted to leave you with tonight is what you're putting out, the way you're minding your own energy, is actually another way to protect your own auric field, okay? All right, that's my little thing for tonight, and I was going to see if anybody has any questions or anything like that, or any comments. Cassie. Oh, and there's one I forgot while she's looking. I have it on. So Larimar is great to connect with. Also, when I was talking earlier about, I don't know why we all so much want to say, oh, I see it with my physical eye, and I kind of got off on a soapbox on that. Well, Larimar connects us with Lemuria. and with the water and a lot of other things, but dolphins, playfulness, but it's also Lemuria. And they definitely spoke through their third eye. They were just telekinetically spoke. And I feel we will be going more and more back to that. And so I pulled the Larimar because of that. Plus, I just love this ring. And it keeps coming onto my finger every time I come into the store. Just magically jumps onto my finger for some reason. Okay. So, if there aren't any questions or anybody wants a reading, then we may be done for tonight. But otherwise, we'll see.
Ashley Daniel says she would love a reading, please.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to get out some cards tonight. And thanks for waiting on me, you guys. We started late, and that was my fault. Absolutely not Cassie's fault. It was my fault. Not that we have to assign fault. I don't know why we always have to do that. But I do want to say thank you for waiting if you did, because I just had a lot going on and from my travels. Okay? All right, Ashley? Does she have a specific question? I'm assuming she didn't.
She just said, in general, I would love a reading.
Okay, so what I got for you, Ashley, is that Ashley, I'm getting something about school. So I'm not sure if this is you in school or your school teacher, or if it's about your kids in school. It's one or the other. It's about school, and I know that covers about all the bases, doesn't it? But basically, that's not the big point of this. But there is something about school. And it may even have to do with somebody who's taking classes, like music classes, all right? The biggest thing is they're not really listening, okay? Sorry for the harsh, the bluntness here, but someone who is involved in some type of school or taking some type of classes that's immediate, like directly connected with you, is they're like this, but not words going in. All right, so I don't feel like this is you, but it's somebody that you're supposed to be aware that this is going on. It's not because they can't hear, it's because they're just not. It's almost an attention thing. It's like a lack of attention, a lack of focus, and it's something you can work with them on. If it is you, then you can work with yourself on that and to really paying attention. I don't think this person interrupts. They just do this. They're like, and everybody thinks they have it, but they really don't. And they're missing some vital things in the learning process. And if this is not actual school, then this is going to be something that is a life lesson. But it feels like a class someone's taking, and it's almost like they're missing the high notes. So they're getting the obvious, but in order to go higher, they really need to listen to those higher notes that are sometimes harder to hear. And they're just like, no, I'm out. And so you really are going to play a part in helping them. Don't think it's you, okay? But that's the message. And if you don't know it now, it's going to be an aha moment soon. And it actually feels like August, which is typically when school starts, or we're getting back into school. So I'm not sure which school it is, all right? But there's something with that. All right, thank you.
Kelly Wayne asked for one.
Okay. Kelly. And as always, I ask for that for the highest and best good for each of these readings, and that no ego come into these readings. If I don't get an answer, I won't give you an answer, and I won't filter spirit. Whatever I'm told, I will give, and I ask for protection, as always, from Michael, and if any healing needs to take place, from Archangel Raphael. Okay? Who is this again? Kelly?
Kelly Wayne, yes.
Okay, Kelly, you know how we talked about earlier, if you were listening, about the heart being where everything now is meeting, the heart chakra? And I said this thing about we don't have to harden ourselves to protect ourselves. I think you get that. But, okay, so we're opening our heart center, but do we have to take everything that everybody throws at us? Like, tomatoes just being thrown at us. I don't know what I'm thinking of that, but just like crud just being thrown at us just because we're willing to be loving and open ourselves up. No, we don't. We still can put up a sort of barrier or shield where our love can go out, but their stuff doesn't have to come in to us, and we don't have to take all of it. You're taking a lot in your loving kindness that you're giving out to people. So I do want to say, from what I said before, that there are times where we have to say, no. You are not going to treat me that way. And I am setting my boundaries now. And this is a time when, no, I can still love you. I can still care about you, but I do not have to be around you. And you are kind of like this, and you're just taking it from everybody. And it's time for you to just say, I'm not going to take it from everybody at all. I feel like you have, you're ready to make a big decision. And I feel like it's probably going to be a good decision if you'll just go ahead and take that leap. And you just take a leap of faith and just trust it, and it'll be good. But make sure you're guarding your heart and feel like these are some people from the past. They're not right now. It's not the full frontal assault right now at you, but it feels like it's been coming at you for a while. So learn, even though you're ready now to go forward, just remember that you do have the means to be loving and kind, like I talked about earlier, but yet to still protect yourself. Okay? Thanks. All right.
Okay. One more. It would be Michaela Ballard.
Okay. All right. I'm getting excited for this weekend for our SoulTopia Sensation. I'm going to take a little break here, and we'll come back, Michaela. We are doing our SoulTopia Sensation is a blast from your past, and it's all on past lives. Our costumes will be whatever you think you were or have been told you were or wanted to be. It's okay. Nobody's going to judge you if you decide I want to dress up as, Cleopatra, and you decide I was Cleopatra in a former life. That's fine. Come dress as who you would like to be in a past life. It's fine. There's no judgments on what you decide to dress as. I just think it's going to be a blast. There's no excuses on this one, guys. We've got something in our closet we can dress up as for this one, and we give a $50 gift certificate to the winner. Plus, it's just tons of fun. That's on Sunday. We open at 11:30, and I'm going to tell you, we have a lineup of great people. Even though the theme is past lives, if you don't want a past life reading, that's fine. You can get any type of message you want, but the people here can certainly give you that type of message. And it is a stellar lineup. You can see that on our website, soultopia.guru, or on our Facebook page. And you can start calling to reserve those tomorrow, the messengers or the healers, or we're going to have an artisan. She, Marie, is it Marie Weldon? She draws your past lives. She sketches and gives you a message. I'm signing up for that, so I'm going to do that right when I get done here. I'm signing up, so you guys better call and sign up for that too. But sign up for your healer. I won't go through them all tonight because y'all can look. But we have great lineup. Then we have presentations that are free throughout the day, just from great people. All on. We have one subject. Our panel is, I think it's called "What About Past Lives?" or "What Are Past Lives?" and "Why Do We Care?" I mean, so I am doing a speech on your Akashic library card. So how you can get into your own Akashics without paying somebody else $5,000 to teach you how to do it, or whatever they charge these days. And so there's all kinds of good presentations. So I really encourage you guys to come. Plus, look at our stuff this week, because it is just like crazy how much stuff is going on. We start a tarot class tomorrow night, don't we, Cassie? Yeah, so you guys come. Everybody's always asking us, when are you going to teach tarot? And we teach it classical tarot. Yes, you do use your intuition, but tarot's tarot. Otherwise, it wouldn't be called tarot. There are spreads, there are positions that go with the cards, and you do learn those. And then from there, you go with your intuition. So that's why it's called tarot. And so we're doing that tomorrow night, and it's the classic way of teaching tarot. And a lot of you have asked, and you keep asking, so sign up, because then you're going to come up and go, when are you doing your next tarot class? And I'm going to be like, we've been doing it, okay? So you want to come tomorrow night, and there's all kinds of good stuff. But come for that. And then the kids' class, Crystal's class, is on Wednesday morning, which we had a blast last week. I want to be a kid and go to that class. Well, I went, but I was teaching it. But they got, like, good stuff. The adults were like, one of the adults took the Crystal class, and she brought her kids. And she's like, they get better stuff than we do. And I'm like, well, they're kids. They're fun. I can't help but give them stuff. All right. So who am I reading for? Michaela?
Yeah, it's Michaela. I may have mispronounced her name.
Okay.
It's Michaela Ballard.
Okay. So if we're mispronouncing it, we're sorry. Okay. All right. Woo. I'll draw another one. Oh, interesting. You know, when you start drawing, you tend to draw the cards that you already drew, even when you shuffle them for somebody else, which happened. Might as well make it 3. All right, so something's going on with you right now that's making you sad. It feels current. You feel encouraged, or someone has come along potentially, it feels like, to encourage you and lift you up a little bit, but you're still feeling sad. And this goes back to the last reading. If you still feel like you kind of open yourself up and were boom, 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 like bombarded. The person who I feel like is encouraging you sometimes does some sideways encouragement. What I mean by that is they're saying they're encouraging you, but you walk away feeling like, was that an encouragement, like encouraging words, or were they really kind of jabbing me? Have you ever felt that way? I don't know if anybody listening's ever felt that way, but they're acting like they're caring for you, but at the same time, they're like cutting you down. And that's kind of how I feel like what's going on with you right now. So I would encourage you to be careful of whom you're taking your encouragement from. I know that sounds a bit odd, but trust your gut on it. When you walk away and you go, wait, what did they just mean by that? Well, you're on the right track. If it feels like they were making a jab at you, they were. And I feel like this just is contributing to your sadness in a way. And it feels like it could be going a little bit into some depression. I know people don't like that word, melancholy. And I'm going to tell you, it's because of somebody, they're exacerbating it. So be careful of who that is. It's supposedly giving you that encouragement, because I don't feel like they're helping. All right? Okay, thank you. Okay, so I think that's it for tonight. And I appreciate all you guys joining me and waiting, if you did, while I was late. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I needed to say that I've forgotten. Oh, we have 2 new healing modalities that we are bringing back from Denver. One is one that Roger has been wanting to do for a long time. If you can see behind me, we have salt lamps, but we also have a lot of singing bowls. He loves singing bowls. And he got quite a bit of training this weekend, and he has every time he goes, from someone who's befriended there in Denver. And he is going to be using all the tones from the scale, the musical scale, of the singing bowls to do healings around you. There's all different, it's limitless what he can do. But also, I'm telling you, it's probably the best thing I have ever felt. You'll be laying down usually when he does this, but he also will put the singing bowl on your back. You can do it standing up too, but laying down, if he puts the water in it, he puts the singing bowl with a towel underneath it on your back and puts a little hot water, and then he does the singing bowl up and down your back. And I can't, explaining it absolutely does not do it justice. I kept going back over having the guy do it to me. It was the best healing. I mean, I love massages. It was bar none better than those. So, and I love my massage therapist, please know that. But it was incredible. I also brought back sound essences from a lady who has done this whole, they're mists that go with your auras, your chakras, your meridians, all of it. And I will be telling you more about it. I brought those back. It's sound essence. It works with the vibration, but they're mists that go with the vibration of sound. And I could not leave without getting those. It's new, but it's not new. Emoto has been doing that forever, and she studied and did much research through all of the water and the vibration and the frequencies with water, and then added it in crystals and herbs and it's all ties together, and it's just incredible, like incredible. And they're specific to, the healing is specific to every person who comes, and it's very interactive what you do with it. So we are so excited about both of those things, and he brought back, because they're driving right now, so send them lots of prayers and energy, brought back all kinds of amazing things for our store. So we look forward to seeing you soon, and I really appreciate you joining us. So Crystal Cheers. Talk to you later.